Commissioner Dr. Scott Gottlieb. He's a board member of Pfizer and Illumina and a CNBC contributor. Always good to have you on a Friday, Dr. Gottlieb. Thanks for being here.
Thanks.
Why are we seeing cases rise to now, I think, February levels when vaccinations are also rising?
Yeah, I think it's a function of the fact that we are reopening the economy. People are going out more. People are taking their masks off. States are lifting some of the ordinances that they had in place and some of the measures they had in place. And there was going to be an uptick. It was inevitable. I don't think that this is the start of a fourth wave. I think some parts of the country look concerning right now. Michigan, certainly. The tri-state region around New York, you're seeing an uptick in cases. But the combination of the fact that probably a third of Americans have been infected, and we've now vaccinated about 25% of all Americans, and about 70% of those above the age of 65, I think is enough of a backstop that we're not going to see a true fourth surge of infection, fourth wave of infection. And probably what we'll see is a plateauing over the next 2 or 3 weeks. The declines won't continue at the same pace that we were experiencing, but then they'll pick up again as we get more people vaccinated, as we get into warmer months and more of the activity gets taken outdoors. So even though I think over the next 2 or 3 weeks, a lot of people are going to be looking at this and getting very nervous, I'm still hopeful that this isn't the beginning of a true fourth wave of infection.
Well, I guess one of the important questions here is, what do we know about the new cases and those that are getting COVID-19? Are they cases of reinfection or of people who have gotten vaccines getting infected? Do we know anything there?
Yeah, unfortunately, we're not as good at this as we should be. But when you're looking at the data in New York City, and I've been looking at that data very closely, you're not seeing wholesale reinfections of people who were previously infected, and you're not seeing people who've been fully vaccinated getting infected. So even when you look at 1526 and you look at the cases of 1526 that have been sequenced, and arguably it's a small pool, but even within that small pool, we're not seeing evidence of people getting 1526 who've been vaccinated. So that's a good sign. Probably at this point, we would be starting to pick up more of those cases if it was happening on a wide-scale basis, but we're just not doing enough sequencing, enough detection to really know for certain. So this is a little bit of touch and go right now, and I'm still concerned about that 1526 variant in New York, that it could potentially reinfect people because of the type of mutation it is. But so far, we haven't seen that.
How close, Dr. Gottlieb, are we to, across the whole nation, having a set of rules that allows anyone to get a vaccine if they want one? And do you fear, at least temporarily, a bit of a bottleneck, a bit of distribution issues as people rush to book appointments?
Yeah, I think I've said all along, I think this is going to be open up wide by the end of March or early April. I think you're seeing that in a lot of states. I mean, some states will lag, but I think you're likely to see, as we get into early April, most states are going to open up eligibility to most adults over the age of 16. There'll be a handful of states that lag. There's a lot of supply coming into the market over the next 2 weeks, and I think that you're going to see much more get pushed out through the pharmacies and much more availability. Yeah, as states open up eligibility, you're going to see a rush to book appointments. And so there's going to be a couple of week period where it's going to be frustrating. People will have a hard time getting online. But that's going to get worked out. I think that the end result is going to be that supply is going to exceed demand at some point in April. There's going to be a lot of appointments that aren't getting filled, and we're going to have to do much more to market this vaccine and get people to come in and get vaccinated, probably at some point late April as we get into May.
There's news on the treatment front as well, Dr. Gottlieb, this week. Your company, Pfizer, testing a pill. We know Merck and Ridgeback have been working on an antiviral pill, plus all the monoclonal antibodies. If we cannot eliminate COVID-19, say, in the next year, can we at least make it so that nobody has to die of it?
Well, we're not going to eliminate COVID-19. Even if we get vaccination rates up, I don't know that we're going to get above 60% of the adult population vaccinated. We're always going to need a treatment to backstop people who get sick even though they've been vaccinated, and also to treat people who don't get vaccinated. The Vir biotechnology product looks good. That was the one that was announced today at their filing in conjunction with GSK. That could be reformulated potentially as an intramuscular injection. That's an antibody drug right now that needs to be infused. And you're right, the Merck drug looks very promising, the drug that they acquired from Ridgeback. There's some data on that. Early, albeit early data, but it looks very promising as a direct-acting antiviral and potentially a sort of Tamiflu-like drug for coronavirus like we have for flu.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.